Stay tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. Joan served the state of California as a member on the Arts Council and on the Film Commission. She was formerly on the Architectural Commission and fulfilled 2 terms on the Fine Arts Commission for the city of Beverly Hills. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview magazine, Condé Nast Publications, and the Hearst Corporation, Joan covered the world of fashion, the mysteries of food, the excitement of theater, and the international art scene. She continues to find people who are on the cutting edge of their professions. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're taping here at the Hollywood Museum in the heart of Hollywood, and this building is the historic Max Factor building, and Donnell Dadigan founded the Hollywood Museum in this building. Our guests are actors Barbara Tarbuck and Eric Edelstein. Actor Eric Edelstein was born in Maryland, raised in the Pacific Northwest. He studied broadcasting at Gonzaga University. You've seen him in Fresh Off the Boat, Ugly Betty, Curb Your Enthusiasm, among other TV shows, and in films like Green Room, Shameless, Always Worthy, and Jurassic World, which you have the great thing, right? The great thing at the end. So why did you go to Gonzaga? I mean, was there acting classes there?
I didn't think it was possible to act. So I was going to be a play-by-play announcer. And I studied that for years, and I didn't think you could really act. And then my senior year, my friend talked me into auditioning for a sketch show.
You mean they actually teach play-by-play?
Yes, and I went to Sportscaster Camps of America, which was all like ex-athletes and other chubby kids.
Where?
In Irvine.
Oh, and you came down
at
here?
At like age 13 or 14, I'd be announcing NBA Summer Pro League games and Angels games.
You're kidding.
Yeah, and it was great, and I liked it a lot.
Yeah, but what kind of background did you have to have for that, besides learning broadcasting? I mean,
it's mainly it's all improvising. So even though it's not what I did, it's really helped me in acting because you're improvising for 2.5 hours with sheets in front of you giving stats, but you have to be on the ball. And, you hear Vin Scully do it. He makes it seem effortless. It is so hard.
That's what I mean. How do you get a background in it? Do you research everything that's going to go on?
Oh, yeah. It's endless and exhaustive research to do
But your
that.
teams play every day sometimes.
Oh, yeah. I can't believe how Vin does it. Like, I recently came out of retirement to do one minor league game in Bakersfield, and I prepared for a week, and I ran out of stuff to say in the middle of the third inning. And I was like, how in the world?
Third inning?
Yes, ma'am. And I was like, how does Vin Scully do this? He's 88, I'm 39, and I cannot do it. I was done by the third inning.
What do you have to pull on? I mean, what do you do, really?
Statistics, lineups, anecdotes, stories. But if you don't know them, like Vin Scully has a research staff, but it's so hard. Basketball was my main thing, and I was okay at that.
Was easier?
Yes, much easier because the game is so quick. And there's much less time to fill.
Oh,
Baseball
you don't have
is so
to talk so much in between.
No, yeah.
Oh,
and then you're with a color commentator that kind of fills in the details, and he actually knows a lot about sports because he played. So you kind of throw to them.
But what about on baseball? You don't have someone else in there with you?
No. It was pretty hard.
Sounds deadly.
It was very humbling, Joan. I'm going to stick to acting. I couldn't even act like an announcer.
So you didn't even act like an announcer,
No.
but you didn't even think you were going to act. And here you were improvising, kind of like stand-up in a way.
Yeah, it's so similar. And I look now that it really was a weird acting education because I would improvise for 2.5 hours on the air, and then when I would get feedback, people would say, and I would do funny halftime packages. And people would say, your halftime packages are so funny. I'd be like, well, what about me announcing the games? Like, oh, yeah, that's okay, too. Yeah. And I was like, oh, you got to take clues.
So were you writing those halftime things?
Yeah, I was writing and doing comedy, and my roommates were on the team, and they were really funny, so we would just do silly stuff.
Oh, that was cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good. But was there any show business in your family so that you could, yes?
My grandfather was a comedy writer who was the mayor of Medford, Oregon, but he would send jokes out.
Oh, he was the mayor.
Yes, and it's really funny. He came back to run the dairy, and he was the mayor.
The family dairy?
Yes.
The family dairy?
Yeah.
Were you milking cows?
No, I wish. They turned it into a Pepsi plant. when I got there. So it was just drinking a lot of Mountain Dew in bottles.
Oh, bad.
No cows for me.
Bad.
No.
You look like you should be milking
right?
cows.
No. I look like, it's funny, I play blue collar and I look like this, but my wife is the one that fixes things around the house.
She fixes them. You can't do
I'm good at
anything.
acting like I can fix them. But yeah, my grandfather always encouraged me, and we have like canceled checks from Phyllis Diller, and he would submit to Herb Cain in the San Francisco
Oh,
Chronicle.
right, yeah.
And
Herb
all
always
these-
took those, didn't he?
Oh, he loved them, and he loved my grandfather, and my grandfather really encouraged it. But then after he passed away, I kind of went to sports broadcasting and didn't think I could really do it. And then I did a play my senior year, got the bug, took an improv class, and then moved down here a year later.
So then you were an actor.
Yeah, or trying to be. And then I
Yeah,
immediately got
yeah.
into Second City down here, realizing I had a lot to make up for not having studied acting.
Do you think that was a big break in your acting? What was a big break? Getting a job or getting into acting class? What do you think?
Second City helped me a ton, but probably the thing that helped me the most was my buddy Jake Johnson and I. He's now on New Girl, and he's in Jurassic World. Wonderful actor.
So you worked with him, right?
Yeah, he and I shot our own pilot called This Is My Friend that we shot right over there at Las Palmas and Selma.
Near our Hollywood Museum.
Right in the heart of it, friend.
Right.
And we shot our own pilot and then sold that to NBC and got our same agents and managers we still have now and got super, super lucky.
Oh, that was your big break?
Yes.
And so they
Yes.
they sold it, and so you had your foot in the door.
Yeah, we had our foot in the door. A lot of that was directed by Jeremy Connor, who now directs like Drunk History and Another Period. And he kind of helped us navigate our way through it. And the three of us, it changed our lives.
And so what kind of roles, you called yourself a character actor earlier.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of roles do you actually go out for?
I seem to be kind of wonderfully typecast two different ways, as either the fun, bad idea buddy, or
Fun,
I
bad
play a
idea.
ton of villains.
Oh, you do?
I play a ton. Yeah, it's not how I thought it would go. You kind of take what the defense gives you.
Because you're comedy. Are
Yeah,
you playing villains?
yeah. Well, it's
mean villains?
Oh yeah, in Green Room right now, I play Patrick Stewart's evil neo-Nazi henchman.
Really?
Yeah, and I've got
Green Room. Tell us about that. It's a horror film, right?
It's just great. Yeah, it's crazy. It's a horror film, but the monsters are Nazis, including.
Oh,
yours
they're the
truly.
kind of monsters?
Oh, it's really incredible, and it's so fun. Patrick Stewart plays a neo-Nazi leader, and it's so fun to see him break through the Jean-Luc Picard.
How'd you look?
Pretty similar to now, and even then, I thought the scariest thing would be to try to play it as close to myself as possible. Obviously, not being affable, but if you can
Right.
kind of play a bad guy and show some humanity, to me, that makes it even scarier.
But then we have, from that kind of a role, to Bear Bears on
Yes!
the Cartoon Network.
I love it. I love it.
What is that? Have you worked with children?
Oh yeah, and it's great because this is the first one I've ever had that's been successful out of the gate. So it's so fun to have kids come up and do the voice for them, which is just my voice, and it's so funny, Joan, because it's the closest I've ever been to playing myself, and I just happen to be an 8-foot grizzly bear.
I was going to say, are you in costume?
No, it's a cartoon.
Oh, so you just use your voice,
Yeah.
but you are in costume in the cartoon.
Pretty much, yeah, and I love it. It's so fun, and it's easy for me because I don't even have to think. I just kind of say the lines how I really would. So it's fun to go back and forth from a friendly grizzly bear to a neo-Nazi to the stoner buddy and then back.
I know. Who's the stoner buddy?
That's usually me. That's what I get to play. But I idolize all these older character actors like Ernest Borgnine and Peter Lorre, and I was downstairs and saw a Peter Lorre autograph.
In the museum,
Oh,
I know.
yeah, Harry
isn't
Dean
it?
Stanton, like those kind
the
of guys
best.
that can drift into
I
every
know.
kind of role are
But they're
amazing.
pretty passive in a way, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, you have to be.
Yeah, and then they bring this horror out.
Yeah.
I mean, Harry Dean Stanton will be singing, and then all of a sudden,
Oh, yeah. Oh, or looking
and
at
Peter
like,
Lorre too.
oh, and Dennis Hopper, like
Same.
all these guys. And I found it's funny that a lot of times the guys that play the bad guys are the nicest in real life.
And have you?
Because
Well, Dennis was really nice.
was he really?
Yeah, Dennis was great. Harry Dean, I would see at parties with Dennis, but he never said anything. He was
Really?
always quiet.
I saw him about a week and a half ago at the Twin Peaks wrap party.
Oh, tell us
And
about Twin Peaks.
I could not believe he was there. Harry Dean sat there
I know,
Didn't
quiet,
say much.
right?
So quiet. So it was enjoying some red wine and cigarettes, and I was like, "Is that the secret? I may have
Lots
to."
of cigarettes, I know.
I may have to adjust my regimen.
But
yeah.
he looks around.
Oh, he's completely there.
I know.
I could not
I
believe
know.
it.
So
he's
what is
magical.
Twin Peaks? What did you do?
Well, they're rebooting it, and it's crazy for me because when I saw it when I was 12 years old and watched every episode with my mom, and I could not believe. I auditioned a long time ago for the new one, and it was, they don't have you read the part. They just like
Just
this.
look at you?
Just an interview, and then David Lynch watches it, and if he can kind of get a sense of you. But
He's very quiet, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very
Oh,
quiet.
yeah.
You
And
never know what he's thinking.
No, but I couldn't believe when it happened. I kept expecting to wake up when I was on set, and it's by far the most fun I've ever had. He
good.
directs with such love, and he has the same crew he's had for 30 years.
Oh, wow. So it was great to work with him.
Oh, it's a dream. I was so sad when it wrapped.
And so from him, we go to a woman director,
Yes.
Mariana Palka.
I love her. I love her so
So
much.
tell us about that. Always Worthy.
I just thought it was such a great script, and
Tell us what the story was.
Well, basically, it's the story of a self-absorbed actress. Believe it or not, Joan, I've heard they exist. I haven't run into one yet. Maybe you have?
Narcissistic, would you say?
Maybe,
Oh,
yeah.
maybe.
Believe it or not, yeah. And it's kind of watching somebody kind of sell their soul a little bit to try to make it and forget what matters in her life. And it's Amberly Colson who wrote it and stars in it. It's just wonderful. And I originally saw her do it as a play.
Oh, right.
in a
Big hair.
Yes, and it was just wonderful, and you could kind of see a happy ending for it. And then I was so happy when it all came together, and I was just beyond honored to be
So
in
she
it.
actually wrote the film? Is that what happened? She wrote
Yes,
the film.
she
How
did it.
did you get cast?
Truthfully, that's a funny story. And my acting coach once told me just always be ready. They had somebody else cast in it. And I got a call on a Sunday night around 6 p.m. Can you start working tomorrow?
Oh,
Yeah, and it's has a lot of lines and stuff,
oh,
but
so
in
you
a
had
way
to
that's
memorize
liberating.
everything that night?
Yes,
What did they
yes.
do? Text it to you? Fax it to
They
you?
sent it to me right away, and then I started memorizing the next day's scenes. But in a way, that's kind of liberating because you don't have time to think about it, and you just kind of can be you. And playing with Amber Lee, she's so great and so easy to connect with on screen.
And
it made it easy.
And your director?
I love Mariana. I did her first movie called Good Dick.
Oh, you were in Good Dick, too. That's the
Oh,
one that
yeah.
I can't say.
No.
It's hard to say, but then when I was talking to Jason Ritter, who's also in it, he said, just think of Good Detective.
Yeah,
then
that's
you
it.
can say it.
They're referring to Robert Mitchum for sure.
Is that what it was?
Oh yeah, Sam Spade for sure. But you could tell on that set it was she has such a great loving vibe, and you feel so comfortable and supported. And I really do love working with female directors.
Wow, that's
Because-
great. We're like, my daughter did the screening of Always Worthy at
did
her
she
house. You
really?
didn't get there,
Oh,
did
no,
you?
I wish I could have.
No, too bad you weren't there. But they're in the Chimera Project, which is like supporting women directors, and that's why Mariana Palka was there with her film.
Oh, I love it. I love
know.
it.
We were so glad that you were in it, and you had another corny kind of a role. Well, you were the best friend.
Yep.
And you had this stupid costume.
The hot dog. Oh yeah.
How did that come about?
I liked the hot dog. It was slenderizing. Yeah, I'd wear it all the time. I fought off wearing it here.
Did they have it? I will, please.
Yeah.
Did they have it with?
One size fits all, even me. Who knew?
Oh.
It was like a mini skirt, but it still worked.
So I think the role that you played, and this is like to close our show on Jurassic World, because that was such a weird thing that you said at the end. Set us up a little bit about it.
Well, that's
You're
one of
the
those,
zookeeper.
Pretty much, yeah. It's just you wonder who put this guy in charge of a dinosaur. And to me, it's the other character actor thing where so often people on camera don't want to appear weak. And they don't want to appear frail, and they want to be cool. And a lot of times when I hear an actor give a director, like, well, hold on, why would my character? And I'm like, let me guess, you're going to pitch something that makes you look cooler, or your character look cooler. I think there's something really liberating to showing up, being an incompetent dinosaur keeper, and then crying like a baby when he realizes he's about to get eaten.
Right.
It's
but
not cool.
It wasn't your fault, though, was it?
Pretty much. I mean, I
Oh,
let
it
out
was
the
your fault?
dinosaur. Without me, Joan, it's a 22-minute short.
I got it.
They should send me more of that $1 billion they made.
So what did they say? He
Well,
says,
I had worked with Chris Pratt on Parks and Recreation. I did like 4 episodes of that and 3 with him. but I wanted to see. I was pretty sure would be the same guy. He showed up, the exact same guy, so cool, and he would constantly try to give me more to do.
Oh, I see.
And the director, Colin Trevorrow, all of like the fun things I do, like eating another chip after I realized the dinosaur's missing.
Oh, right. Right, I
and
remember
the cry.
those. It's like, what is this guy doing?
Oh, yeah.
Why doesn't he move and do something?
No, because I'm incompetent
I
and very scared. So for me, it was really, the funniest parts of it were all Colin Trevorrow on set, of saying, what if you took a chip? What about a male cry? Do you have a medallion on? Do you mind kissing the medallion?
Oh, like
and
that?
And it just set me free, and I'm totally comfortable being a big dork that cries for pain.
And so he comes to you and he says, how high is that wall?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And you say?
About 30 feet.
40
30 feet high.
Oh.
Do I think you can climb it? Depends on what they cooked up in that lab.
That's what he said.
Yep.
Can the guy get out? Can the dinosaur get out? And you say?
You really think that dinosaur could have gotten out of there? Depends on what they cooked up in that lab.
I know. I think that's so great because he's gone, right?
Yeah, it's another one of those where you feel like you're dreaming and you're going to wake up and I'm going to be back working at the Starbucks on Highland and Franklin where I'm getting eaten by a dinosaur. I can't believe it.
And we're gone.
Yes.
Eric, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks, Joan. This was so fun.
And don't go away. We'll be right back with Barbara Tarbuck. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're taping here at the Hollywood Museum, and our guest is actor, writer, performer, Barbara Tarbuck, who was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, graduated from Wayne State University, earned a master's from the University of Michigan, and did her PhD studies at Indiana University. Barbara's worked on stages in New York, Dallas, Williamstown, and throughout the state of California. You started as a performer at a very, very young age. That's pretty weird.
Oh, in Detroit? Do you know about that?
Yes, your radio show.
Yes. Oh, how wonderful that you know that. On WWJ. Now, you know, it was called Storyland. It was a children's show that featured a little girl that all these things happened to, and I worked with radio performers who had been the sheriff in Raleigh Parker in Lone Ranger, and Detroit was a real radio center, and I hit the tail end of it. You see?
Oh, I see. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was 1953 when I did this, and I was the little girl that all these things happened to, and I got it through my school, through my public school in Detroit.
And how did you?
They had
how
auditions.
Old were you? Oh, they did audition.
I was 8,
and they auditioned to 8-year-olds.
Well, what they did. Yes, they did.
How did they do it?
Well, and some of them, we went down there. I was selected by Mrs. Diamond. Boy, you're taking me way back.
I know, it's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. My auditorium teacher, that I was the one from our school that she thought should go for this role.
So they had help from the faculty.
Yeah, right. And so I remember reading the part, but I didn't remember, that I don't think I was aware that it was an audition, and that probably was a good thing.
What? Did people fly into Detroit to do radio, or was it just?
No, it's people who were local. You see,
it
was a center.
local.
You see, yes, Detroit. Then they moved to Chicago, but Detroit was a big center.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
In the 40s and 50s, yeah.
So, well, you were
and the
there.
Shadow started there, and the Lone
It
Ranger.
did?
Oh, lots of radio shows.
All our favorite Saturday mornings.
Exactly. And one of the most exciting things to me was, and it was so funny, in my show, in Stopping By, that I'm doing now, at one point we have this crackle of fire, as in Burning Man, that the fire happens. And I said, it sounds like strawberry boxes. And they all looked at me like, what? And I said, when they used to do live fire on the radio show, they would take wooden strawberry boxes, and the prop guy was so brilliant. He would just
crunch them
in a most.
And it sounded like a fire crackling?
Perfectly.
Oh, isn't that great? It's great. We don't even have those wooden strawberry boxes.
No,
I remember those.
I know. Yeah, right.
So you continued your studies, and you
well, what happened was I
you had all these scholarships.
Yeah, I did, and they were all in theater. They were all, but I didn't know. I kept staying in school because I didn't know how to proceed except by going to the next logical step. I mean, I couldn't just go to New York. I didn't know. I would have been. I didn't know anyone.
Wayne University, is that a theater school?
Oh, it is.
Oh, it is.
It really is, and it still is, despite all the problems Detroit has. They had the Bonstell Theater, which was a wonderful, wonderful theater that still exists. That the Luntz played in, and they have a graduate school program and company, and yeah, I got And also
and University of Michigan, was that a school?
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. They had the PTP fellowship, and then when I got to IU, that was also another theater company where I was the lead actress. But I took classes and so on, and then I got the Fulbright from there.
Yeah, the Fulbright. So during your doctorate studies, you get a Fulbright. Do you apply for it?
I applied for it, but I applied for it in acting. I never got my PhD. It was like all I was doing was wanting to work and wanting to act, and I was getting paid and getting a lot of experience.
So
and I was
you
young.
got a Fulbright to the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Arts. Did you ask for that?
Yes.
Oh, you do ask for that.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was wondering. What you do for a Fulbright?
It's like applying for any grant. They're always really tricky and long. And I think I started applying in September, and I didn't find out I really had it until May.
Oh.
And I knew at Christmas time.
So you were still studying and
I was still,
school.
right. I knew in December I'd made the finals, and that I was going to have an audition, in person.
Do they still do those Fulbright grants?
They do.
Because are they all in the arts?
Well, no.
They're not.
Fulbright grants are all over the world, they were started with William J. Fulbright, who had been a senator from Arkansas.
Oh, that's how it
And it was about how to give back war reparation money, and so it was,
I see.
scholars come here.
Right, it's an exchange in a way.
A wonderful exchange.
Well, when you were at the London Academy, Lambda, right?
Yeah.
Did you act on stage?
Yes, oh yes. And we studied every day. I mean, the day started at 8:15 in the morning and went on till 6:30, and then there was some performance even after that. It was really, and then because it was a Fulbright, they gave us free tickets to any shows we wanted to see. I mean,
all over the West End, you were going to shows all the time?
All over, in little theater and everything. And my girlfriend, my lovely, lovely girlfriend, Tony Rapport, who was studying, we'd met on the boat going over, she had a Fulbright to study with the Amadeus Quartet, to study violin. She was from here. She was from Southern California.
Oh, isn't that great?
And so she would get music tickets, I'd get theater tickets, and we were out every night.
You went over together? Did the group go over together, or was it just because you two were going to London?
It's because we were going to London.
And that's how it played.
Yeah.
What do they expect from you as a Fulbright scholar? Do you have to give back anything? Do you have to produce something?
They want us to do well. No, that's all. I mean, I'm still very close to my mentor, my teacher, who's the head of the school, Norman Ayrton. He is now, he's for his 91st birthday, I'm planning to go to London to see him. Yeah, we've never lost touch.
Is he still in charge of?
No.
He retired?
No. Yeah, he retired.
You've played on a lot of stages in California and also, as I said, around the world now, we can say. But you were in the Geffen Theater, which is great, in Westwood, in the Cripple of Inishmaan.
Cripple of Inishmaan, yeah.
Did you have to have an accent?
Oh, I did, and I did. Oh dear, we had to have the Irish accent. And what was really pleasing is some people would come and they only knew that there was one American and 3 women who had Irish accents who were from Ireland. And they couldn't pick it up, and that's because it was so helpful having them.
Oh, because you could emulate.
I could hear it. I could hear it all the time. And also
doing.
In drama school in England, you really have to do accents. And in General Hospital, it paid off again because I played an Australian billionaire.
In General Hospital?
In General Hospital.
Do you have
Jane Jackson, it's all that kind of thing,
And
I do love
what was
voices.
The Irish?
Oh, the Irish. Oh, boy, I wish I could remember some of them. Well, I actually do I do 18 characters in the show I'm doing now. And one of them is, he's Irish, and is, Charlie, don't trouble yourself, lad.
But see, I can understand that. But when I saw that play, it was so difficult for me to understand.
Did you see it at the Geffen, or did you see?
I saw it at the Geffen. I saw it in New York too.
Yeah. It can get. I think Scottish is even harder than Irish to understand, and it takes a while to. It takes 10 or 15 minutes to settle in.
That's exactly
and admit
right.
that wait a minute, it doesn't matter if I get the feel, and then suddenly you're understanding.
There's a feel, yeah, exactly. And you've been in plays with a lot of playwrights, also on these different stages, like Mamet, and who else have you?
Oh, David Mamet and Harold Pinter.
Oh yeah,
and
right.
Working with him, and Tennessee Williams.
You did. You've worked with all of them.
Right, with all of them, and where they're working on the show, and when you change a line or a word, and they'll go, "All right." I went, "Whoa."
They go, "All right."
They're all right.
Oh.
They have. I mean, it's in the book, and so it took me this long to really write something myself.
I was going to say, then when did you decide to write your own play? You've been with all these great playwrights,
Exactly.
and you've played all kinds of accents. And here you're doing this play at the Edgemar Arts. Is that what it's called? Edgemar Center for the
Center
Arts.
for the Arts, yes, in Santa Monica on Main Street. It's a wonderful venue. It's a Frank Gehry building. It's just really sweet and lovely and just the right size for the play, you know.
And so tell me about the play.
All right.
Tell me the name of it.
It's called Stopping By.
Yes.
And that, I explained the title in the piece. I'd rather not. It spoke to me really first. I started writing this. My husband had a stroke and got very ill. And he was ill for 7 years, and then he died. And yes, I did take his ashes to Burning Man. Some of them, you know, not all of them.
Well, we don't know that. She
Oh,
takes her ashes to Burning Man.
Yeah, and when I say that, people expect me to be much kookier or whatever they think is
Exactly.
kooky.
Who would go to
Yeah,
Burning
right,
Man?
exactly. Lots of people, thousands and thousands of people.
Is this a true story?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's a true
Yeah,
story.
no,
Okay.
no, it wrote itself. I had to write this. I changed some names, I changed some genders, just, you know, to protect people. Then so I could also, sometimes when you write fiction, you can be more honest, or me.
But
freer.
this is on it. This
Yeah,
is
it's the truth, but it's you know, it's I would say it's masked in a fictional front, but everything, all the happenings in
But
it
you said
happen.
there's so many characters that you play.
Yeah.
Why are there? Oh, because you come in contact with these
Oh
characters.
yeah.
And like
all,
who?
all along the way. Oh, well, the social worker that told me that I only had 8 more days of the insurance. You know, before I was like, oh boy, and you know, and the director at the funeral home, who was so kooky, and anytime anybody thinks that 6 Feet Under is not a realistic show, I did that show. I actually played a doctor in that. That it's they are really kooky. So all these different people, and then the policeman who stopped us on the way, and then getting to Burning Man, all of the different people, just a myriad of.
And when you got to
tapestry.
Burning Man, you talk about all the people you met there.
Oh yeah. No, they just.
So tell me about.
Well,
the
my
con-
director, my wonderful director,
tell me about
Ryan
him.
Drillinger. He insisted. He said, Barbs. He said, your script is better than your improvising. Don't do one of those stories. So of course I stuck with it, and I do have great respect for the written word. So yeah,
But it's your written word,
It's my
and you
written
have
word.
respect for your own written
oh
word.
God, it's hard sometimes.
And so
it
did
was
your
hard
director.
to write. And
Where'd you find a director?
Oh, Brian and I did the tour, the national tour of Broadway Bound. He played my son,
Oh.
and on the national tour. And then since then,
Of what play?
Broadway Bound.
Broadway
Neil
Bound.
Simon. Yeah, that's another
great
writer that I've worked with, and
right.
I've done Brighton Beach Memoirs on Broadway, and Brian actually did the movie of Brighton Beach Memoirs.
I see.
Anyway,
I told everyone out there that she's been on so many things I couldn't even get to them all. So I'm glad she's mentioning them as we talk.
I'm delighted you remembered Detroit and radio, especially.
So
But anyway,
he
Brian and I,
directed
and then we acted together at South Coast Rep. We've done a couple of plays together down there, and he started working and producing out of Edgemar, actually. And Michelle Danner, who's the artistic director, said, "Well, bring the show." You know,
She's great. She has a really good eye for things.
So we're having a wonderful time, and Brian, it's lit, and the sound design and the whole thing is being supported just beautifully here. So that it's actual. I go from place to place, and he insists that he said, "Always remember, Barbara, see it and say it." It's so simple.
What about
so that
costuming?
I don't rush?
What about costuming?
Pretty simple.
Simple?
Pretty Burning Man fare, I'd say.
Kind of hippie? It looks a little hippie?
I thought of that, and he said, "No, that's not you. Don't do that."
Oh, isn't that? Oh, I see.
You
I
know.
see. So could this go on to other stages? Is that what you're thinking?
It could. At this point, what was important for me to do is to share the story, to know that I could learn 70 minutes.
Oh, right.
And pull it off, and it's really invigorating. It was really hard to write and rehearse, but once I started performing it, it's invigorating, because young people come up and tell me that oh, my mother, oh, my father, oh, this is so much like
They
when
did so much, right?
You know, you understand, you share, because we don't talk about this kind of thing. We don't talk about sharing the difficulties and how you bring yourself out of it, and what really joining yourself together with thousands and thousands of people can do in a very warm, open, fulfilling way.
Well, it can go to different stages. Do you think it could be a film?
Could be.
Okay, we heard it from you, and we want to thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So great to have you, and it was so great to have you watching us today. Keep writing to JAQUINN1 at AOL.com. See you next time.